Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks, about a week and a half since we've done this, and I'm so glad to be back, and I'm so honored to be joined by Miss Allie Colleen. How are you?
Hi, I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm good. We were talking a few minutes before. Oh, look, I just made us bigger.
Hey,
Just trying to learn the software too, but I'm so glad we kind of took like about a week and a half, almost 2 week break. So I'm glad we're coming back with you because I told you this in February, although I'm sure you had a ton of people telling you things. I love you, not just as a singer and songwriter. I mean, as a human being, you make me laugh watching Brooklyn Mom, Rona, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I love watching Rona. I love watching the broom challenge. I love your your social media.
Got me. I still go back and watch that video because it just kills me. I don't know what my deal was. Like, it was so funny to me.
I did the same thing. We set it up and I was like, what? I didn't get that you could do that every day of the year.
We knew before we like put it up because I saw that, but I was like, sure. And I think we talked about this in February. We missed our opportunity to just start gluing stuff together and like showing people that it was standing up, because if you show someone something, they'll try it,
Right.
like no matter what. So I wish we would have just like really taken advantage of that and like went for it. That would have been so funny.
Yeah. But hey, we all got a lot of laughs out of it. And I just need you. Here's what I need. Here is what, as a fan, I need from you.
Okay.
I need you to do more TikTok.
I hate TikTok. I hate it. I will say though, I have about 58 intoxicated drafts on TikTok that honestly should be shared with somebody. So maybe I'll just send them to you.
Okay.
Maybe you can like watch them and approve them for me, because they're not.
I will sign a non-disclosure, and they will not go anywhere.
Good deal.
But so, okay, how have you been? I mean, you've not stopped. You've kept going with writing, and
I've been really good. I went to work with my husband for like 4 weeks during quarantine, and he does like land maintenance and stuff like that. So that was just amazing for me. One of my like go-to hobbies is just like, I wouldn't even say like gardening or anything like that. I literally just weed my little flower, like whatever they are. Like that's what I do. And it's so funny because I used to watch my mom get stressed out and just go outside and start pulling weeds. And I was like, why does she do that? And now like literally like it's like clockwork. Every 15 minutes, I'm like, I'm gonna go pull some weed. It's so weird. So I went to do that with him for a while, and it was really, really nice. But I just felt like I wasn't doing anything to further myself. I was staying busy and I wasn't sitting at home eating snacks all day, but I literally wasn't doing anything for my career. So I got back into writing a little bit. I wrote one song on my own, like during quarantine. And it was such a mood song. It's called Pretty Sad. So I did that and I got that out. And other than that, we've just really been working. We recorded the single that we released last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. Ain't the Only Hell. We recorded that during quarantine, and that was crazy interesting to do.
it's awesome, though. It really is. I mean, one, it has to be a treat for all your moms, but it has to be a treat for all of your moms to hear that song and be like, that's really cool. Because, when we start looking through photo albums, the ones that they probably don't want us to see, we usually find things that they don't want us to know.
So my favorite thing about Ain't the Only Hell and how it came to be, and I just love to tell people this because a lot of people know my mama and a lot of people love my mama, right? Like, she's the coolest thing on the planet. And so this photograph that the first verse talks about with her being on this lawnmower and being a babe or whatever.
In the Bud Light shirt.
Yes, in the Budweiser bikini top. There's only one line in this song that isn't true, and that is she was the same age that I am now. My mom's like in her 40s in this photograph on this thing, like had breast cancer, everything, and like you can see it in the bikini top, and it's just so much cooler. So like when I got to see that photograph of my mom, which I'd seen so many times, but when I saw it this time, I just saw it differently. I just saw like who she was before she gave up who she was to be a mom, like as
Right.
you do. I'm sure and it's just, and the same thing for my bonus mom. She stepped in and there were 3 crazy girls that she just didn't even hesitate, and just jumped into it. And like we were crazy little kids, like, absolutely crazy. So it's just all about moms and about how, we are who we are because of who our moms are. And I am a crazy hell-raising woman because my mom was a crazier hell-raising woman. It's also very tongue-in-cheek because, like you said, everything that we got to talk about for that second verse of what she used to do was stuff that she wouldn't let me do.
Right?
You know? So then I was like, okay, I'll respect the moms in this song. We'll write a mom anthem, but also the chorus hits. You can't expect me to learn something I haven't tried. Like,
Well, yeah.
because like we're the same person. Like I am my mom. So
Yeah.
the whole writing process was really cool to get to do. And then we recorded it during quarantine. So I haven't met anybody aside from 3 people who played on it. I've Venmo'd them, but I've never met them. I've never talked to them. Recording a single in quarantine was crazy.
Yeah, I would imagine it would have to be completely different than doing, being in studio with everybody there. Yeah. It would have to be a total different kind of vibe going on. So
we didn't go to lunch. We didn't do anything, and that's what I was so used to doing. And there's a lot of people who record this way. I have a lot of friends who just like send a voice memo off and then come show up one day and sing on it. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
They do. And I have a lot of friends that do it that way, but I was just always, we meet in the morning and we go over it and we play and we go to lunch and then we come back and we finish it, it's just an experience. And so it was really interesting doing it this way.
So did you find it, did you find that you write quicker doing it this way versus the taking the lunches and the things like that? Or
the song itself, we wrote months and months back. Honestly, we've had it for a while. And it was one of those songs where I got together with my buddy Carleen and she showed me some chords that I loved. And then I just kind of looked at Carleen and I go, do you just want to hang out tonight? And she's like, yeah, of course. Like we just hung out tonight. And I texted her the next day and I was like, hey, to be honest, I'm going to steal this melody that you gave me. And I know exactly like what I want to write about. And to be honest, I want to write it by myself. And she goes, go for it. So Carleen has the melody on that song and then I wrote it. So just to get to sit there and write it by myself was really cool. But once you get to like the studio day, that process went like a lot faster.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there and listening to everybody do stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to, right? Which is really cool. Yeah. But also I'm sitting at home like, I wonder how they're playing it and if I'm gonna like it and all this stuff. And then they send it to you and it's flawless. It's perfect.
Right.
So it was really, really interesting and I learned a lot.
Well, segue, since we're talking about it, you want to sing it for us?
I would love to.
All right, I'm going to drop out of the screen and let you do it. And my light went out, so I'm going to go fix that while you sing for us.
No, okay. I hope I'm not too loud or anything. I sing really loud. So for anybody listening, I'm so sorry.
Turn your volume. Yeah, to turn your volume down if you can't handle it loud. Yeah. This is some hell she's going to raise here.
I am going to raise some hell. All right, this is Ain't the Only Hell. My Mama Raised. You guys can find it anywhere you listen to music. It goes a little like this. Oh, and she had 10 legs for days, soaking up them summer rays on a grasshopper 0 turn. She wore a Budweiser bikini top, and it made my heart stop. Looking into a photograph and my mama looking back. She was the same age, she wasn't that I am now. So beautiful, so young and proud. You can't expect me to learn from something I ain't even tried. No, I ain't afraid to crash and burn. Just wanna live while I'm alive. I got her blood in my veins. I ain't the only hell my mama raised. Oh, and I've heard stories about my mama sneaking out and going down to the rodeo. Little kings, a cavalcade, 2-stepping on a tailgate, and what I'd give to go back in time, the tumbleweeds on Friday night. And that fire in her is a blaze in me, and no fear in this world's gonna stop me. You can't expect me to learn from something I ain't even tried. No, I ain't afraid to crash and burn, just wanna live while I'm alive. I got her blood in my veins, I ain't the only hell my mama raised. My mama raised. Oh, you can't expect me to learn from something I ain't even tried. I ain't afraid to crash and burn, just wanna live while I'm alive. I got her blood in my veins, I ain't the only hell my mama raised.
I was sitting over here singing along. I love it. Okay, I wasn't out loud because that would have been like
I was
bad.
waiting for a harmony or a cymbal or something.
But I love that song. And while we're on the topic of it, of Ain't the Only Hell, let's talk about Joe Costa.
Joe.
Right? Martina and Joe. I mean,
amazing, right?
I told them, we talked with them about a week and a half ago. They were, I think, one of the last ones we did before we took a little break. And every time I see them, it's like relationship goals and like these two beautiful people, but with a heart of gold too. So I was
so sweet. I mean, we were blessed enough to meet a couple years back at a show, and it was one of those things where we both had a show like here in Nashville, and I met her with my friend Carly, and then we were talking, and like Joe and Martina were playing in Louisville the next week, and so were Carly and I. So we're like, oh my gosh, we'll meet up, and normally when you say that, you don't meet up, right? Like
right.
It's not cool and it doesn't work out. They showed up at our show a week later in Louisville, and like
now see, we went to their show. I didn't know that. I just wasn't paying attention then, I guess. Like,
no, it was literally forever ago. Like it was years and years ago. And they showed up at ours. So like all I have to say, like we met them, like spur of the moment, and then just for them to invest that time to like come and find us, and even just to check in, like they weren't there for long, but they were just like, hey, like we wanted you to remember that like we talked about this and we remembered and we wanted to see you, and just so sweet. And literally ever since then, they've just been like a really good friend in my life. And like getting to work on this with Joe, like Joe goes to work and like me and Martina just go and do stuff. It's so much fun.
And cool people to hang out with. I'm going to tell on her a little bit, but it's not anything that I wouldn't say to her or haven't said to her. We talked about, they were my very first interview I ever did several years ago, about 3 years ago. And she talks about their relationship, but says, I had to stalk him in order for him to marry me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
But now it's like, okay, you go, girl, because it's stalking. As long as
go
it's like,
why not? Martina could stalk me any day. I'll tell you that right now. I'd pay Martina to stalk me.
I noticed that Big Country in Florida is just said hello. So because you just topped what'd you do? You topped the chart.
He has a top 20 right now for his radio station, like WBCW in Florida, and we are on like just every week we're trying to get votes for it. So we came in number 1 the very first week. I honestly I can't remember if they go by every 2 weeks or every week, so I'm not sure if I missed it on Monday or not, seeing where we came in. But it runs like all the way through November. And so I'm really, and so he's included us in that.
That's cool. So, hey, Big Country, you can, it's not morning. Allie and I both are not, it's getting close to wrapping up time.
It's
not morning.
Yeah.
I know it's not morning in Florida. So, but since you're on here, make sure you look up and tell her where she was this week. Let's talk about real quick. Okay, I told you that I heard some things in Along the Way.
Yes.
Which that was your second single.
Yes, Along the Way was our second single.
With Work in Progress being the debut one, which, okay, amazing too. But I know that you don't have 2 hours to sit on here with me tonight, so I'm trying to wrap it up as much as I can in one. In Along the Way, I heard some things in there differently today because I always like to refresh things that I'm listening to when I'm going to talk with an artist. And I was like, oh yeah, I really do love this song. And then as I just kept it on repeat, and then I listened to you talk about the behind the scenes on it, and the drums stuck out to me.
Right?
When you said the Tarzan type, I was thinking Jungle Book the whole time I'm hearing this.
Literally, the drummer was so disappointed in me because I watched him and I go, hey, like, you know Phil Collins? And he goes, yes. I was like, have you seen Tarzan? And he kind of goes, yes. So I was like, that's what we need. And he goes, you reference Phil Collins, and then what you have to bring me is Tarzan. I was like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, it's the best. Like, it's my favorite. And he goes, I mean, no disrespect, but like, I thought we were gonna like pull out like some like cuts of like Phil Collins. I was like, no, I don't want that. I literally want like Son of Man drums going on this song,
because
and it vibes the whole thing.
Yeah, it does. And what I felt in the song this time was I felt a lot of vulnerability. I felt a lot of courage and encouragement. And I felt a lot of this power from the drums that I didn't feel every other time I listened to it. But I think it's because I wasn't paying attention to it.
Right.
This time I was so focused on the lyrics. And the one thing I didn't hear last time, because I said it's vulnerable and yet it's courageous, but it's encouraging for that person. But there's also this line, please come back, that has this little bit of desperate in it that I love because you put everything in there.
Yeah. There's nobody on this planet who's going to send off the person that they love the most and not worry a little bit that they're not going to come back.
Right.
And so that's what the whole song's about. It's just about telling your person like, hey, like, I don't want you to settle for me. Like, go and find the world. And like, not even a romantic way. Like, I feel it's like the song's about my best friend. Her name's Emily. And my whole life, just, growing up and going to college and still having that friend that you've had since you were really young, you start to learn a lot of stuff. And I learned a lot about friendship in like the last 3 years. And I learned that I was never very good at it until like now. Like now I am the most loyal friend you'll ever have. And because I know what it's like to be treated the opposite way. And whole life, I've just been so independent. And my best friends have been animals, and I just never thought much about it, And so to come back to Emily and I's relationship, which has lasted over time, forever, and it's never really faltered, to come back to that and be like, hey, I don't want you to settle for me as your best friend. Like, I want you to search the world and find it. Right. And just pray at the end of the day that I was enough and that I'm what you're come back to. And I feel the same way about Jonathan. I feel the same way about anybody that I love. It's like you go and you find everything. Because God help me if you think I'm holding you back also.
Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, Allie, we need to move on because like I've got my box of Kleenexes and somebody's going to comment about me and my crying. But the Goosey, oh my gosh, because I did say it was like, oh, it's so great. Like I knew it was great, but then I really listened to it and it was even greater. So let's talk real quick about the Turtles because I'm trying to run through a whole bunch of stuff here real quick because I want to get to the two things that I told you at the beginning that I love.
Yes.
But talk about Turtles real quick. So Take Up Your Arms.
Turtles. Got it.
Turtles.
I was like, turtles? Yeah.
Turtles. Here's my, no, I'm kidding. But how did that happen for you? And it's a cool song anyway, for the time that we're in.
Thank you. So I wrote that song with Bobby Johnson right as soon as I got back from like a study abroad. So it was kind of the first time that I'd been like immersed in a culture that was different than mine, and some days I was super welcomed and some days I wasn't, and it was one of those kind of things. And it was right around the time that there was a lot of like political things going on with the airlines and how they were treating certain people that were flying.
Mm-hmm.
And and everybody at the time too was worried about gun control and all that crap. And I promise I won't get political on you guys who are like, oh my God, here we go.
It's okay.
I wanted to write a song where when you saw the title track, you got all excited about guns, right? So I wrote the song. So I told Bobby, I go, it's got to be called Take Up Your Arms. And it's got to be prefaced with, this is how we're going to fight for each other and all those things. And then when you listen to it, you get that simple message of take up your arms and put them around someone, just love each other. And so Bobby and I jumped on the song and we wrote it 3 or 4 years ago. And then on the road last summer, maybe the summer before, we got to play in New Jersey around where this sea turtle recovery is. And they just reached out and they're like, hey, I see you have a couple shows. Like, would you stop by and play a show for us and help us raise some money? You can come in and like meet the turtles. Like, we really need funding, and we know that you love wildlife and we love your music. And I was just like, this is my dream. I will do this. And so the whole day before the show, I got to just go in the clinic with Brandy and Tom and all them, and we just went through it, and I got to meet everybody, and I got to meet all the turtles.
Those things are the coolest kind of places.
I've never seen a sea turtle, like I grew up at this wildlife rehabilitation clinic in Oklahoma where no one ever brought in a sea turtle. So I'd never seen one. I didn't know anything about them. And I just got to like sit there and like learn about turtles. And at the time they had in this one called Wolverine that was like so close to just dying. And he was so sick. And he was so sweet, and it was just awesome. And it was so special then to get to follow them and watch them release Wolverine about a year later. And he got recovery. It was so special. So when they came to me, I guess it was a couple months ago. They came to me a couple months ago and they go, hey, we really want to put out an awareness video. And we just Brandy's always loved that song. I played it that night and she loves it. And so she was like, can we use it? I was like, absolutely. Like, please use it. So then I got to be on a sea turtle, video for them. And it was just so special. And I love what they do. They're amazing. Anybody in the New Jersey area should go and check them out.
And it's Sea Turtle Recovery, right? SeaTurtleRecovery.org.
Mm-hmm. You can check them out. They're amazing. You can donate, all that kind of things. But they're just so kind. And to get to be in a video with a bunch of other turtles is really cool too.
We have a wildlife center. Well, it's not open anymore, but close, like wildlife in need kind of thing. And you could go over and pay a fee to see all these animals. And they brought out a sloth. What I didn't know. So here's a tip. Have you ever gone to see one?
I've never got to like touch one, but I've seen them.
Okay, so Allie, you and I are going to do that. Like, we're going to find a place and go do that, because here's what happened. They brought the sloth in. I start bawling. I mean, surprise people. Laura was crying, but something happened. I was like, oh my, I turned into a 3-year-old.
There's a lot of animals that are like that. There's a lot of animals that you get next to and you've never realized what that would be like. Like when I got next, like when we went into the sea turtle recovery for the first time, they had this turtle. And all I can think of right now is Tabitha, because I know that's their most recent one. And I can't remember her name right now, but it was the biggest one they have. And they only breach about every 30 minutes or so to come up and breathe. And apparently this specific turtle would not come up for anybody to breathe or anything. And I walked in the room and I walked up to her thing and she came right up and she took like a thing and she took air. And I just bawled for like 30 minutes. Like there's something so special about being around animals, especially something like a sloth that you've only ever seen pictures of.
Right.
You don't know how big they are.
Right.
Next to it. And you're just like,
I know. I know. Well, we have to find a place because I'll message you after we're done here.
We'll talk.
Yeah. We'll talk. Okay. And real quick, let's talk about this since it is Father's Day weekend. You and Trisha are doing a Food Network appearance. Yeah. So talk about that.
It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. It was so much fun. So Trisha had asked me a while back, honestly, she's like, hey, I know that you work so hard and I know that you're doing your own thing, But I would she goes, I've had all these amazing women on my show this year that are artists. And she goes, and I just feel like you need to be amongst them and you need to come and like be an artist on the show. And I was like, I love that so much. I go, but can I be honest? I go, can I just come on maybe as your daughter? You know, like, can we do that kind of thing? I go, because I don't need my parents promoting my artistry for me. You know what I mean? I didn't want to, and I didn't want to use her show to do that. So I was like, can I just come on like as your daughter and we do something? And so that's when she thought of the Father's Day episode. Well, and so Trisha and I make all of the meals that Dad made us when we were little, and she like revamped them and like makes them all cool and everything. Cause like Dad fed us Tyson chicken and mac and cheese every night. So we make like our own like rendition of it. And it was really fun. And I'll tell you right now, it did not beat Dad's Tyson chicken, but it was so much fun. And so that airs this Saturday
on Food Network, correct?
Food Network. Yeah.
Okay.
Trisha's Southern Country Kitchen. I should know what it's called. Oh my gosh, I don't. I think
you didn't go in there you went in there as her daughter. So
I did. I showed up. I was like, what do we do? And then I was like, oh, you're gonna see my hands? I didn't see my nails. The one time in my life that someone looks up close and my nails was on that cooking show, and it looked horrific. Like, yeah.
You'd have thought that'd have been something that she would have told you.
I didn't think about it. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about real quick. I want to challenge you. I want to give you a challenge.
Okay.
And I've been doing this the past few days or the past several interviews, because I'm curious what people choose. I'm curious the song. I don't care who it's by. I don't care. I love to watch another artist find an artist song that means something to them for whatever their own reasons are, and play it for us, because I think it.
Ooh.
So Deep Cuts Challenge was going around at the beginning of the quarantine.
It's a good one. What did other people play? Do you remember any of them?
Somebody, Bailey James did an Amy Winehouse tune.
Wow. I don't know Miss Bailey, but she sounds like she's
she's got that voice for it. Like,
I
was like, what? Joe and Martina did. Oh my gosh. Oh, they did. Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you right now.
Dang it. It's okay.
Yeah, they did. People have chosen some that like James Taylor's and Paul Davis. So, but they've also chosen some other country legends too.
Thanks. Well, I know off the top of my head, the first one that I want to do, I can't play guitar, but I would do Silver Thunderbird by Jody Messina. My favorite.
Wow. Yeah.
My absolute favorite. But this is one that I've been playing for a really long time that like nobody knows kind of thing. And it's just, I play it in my live set, and we just always talk about before we play it, you know, like country music's changing as it does, right? And
right.
Everybody always likes to ask younger artists their opinions on that. You know, like, are you new country? Are you old country? Like, where do you fit? And for me, I don't care about anything other than like one, your song has to make me feel something. And two, there's got to be a story. Like, there has to be something I can follow, you know?
Right.
And that can be over beats. It can be over whatever you want. It can sound like whatever. But for me, like because I loved everything that Sam Hunt did last year, because there was all really great stories to it.
I mean, 2016 was an amazing.
I just heard that song yesterday. It's so funny you say that. I heard it yesterday and went and listened to it and was like, oh my gosh.
I know.
But all that to say, this is an older country song, and it has that story. This is one of those songs that I've literally watched since I was a kid. You know, I know what all the characters would look like, and I know what they would talk like, and I love it. So this is my old story song.
You take it away.
It's quite long. I'll warn all of you right now. It's quite long. It's not like American Pie, but it's quite long. She was a girl on a wagon train, headed west across the plains. The train got lost in a summer storm. It couldn't move west and it couldn't go home. Then she saw him riding through the rain. He took charge of the wagons and he saved the train. She looked down and her heart was gone. The train went west, but she stayed on. Lonesome dove, farmer's daughter with a gentle hand, a blooming rose in a bed of sand. She loved the man who wore a star. Texas Ranger, no near and far. So they got married and they had a child. The times were tough and the West was wild. It was no surprise the day she learned the Texas man would not return. Lonesome dove, back to back with the Rio Grande, a Christian woman in the devil's land. She learned the language and she learned the fight, but she never learned how to beat the lonely night. Lonesome dove, watched her boy grow into a man. He had an angel's heart in the devil's hands. And he wore a star for all to see. The Texas lawman legacy. One day word blew into town. See the man that shot his father down had robbed a bank in Jericho. Only thing between him and Mexico was lonesome dove. Shadows stretched across the land. Shots rang out down the Rio Grande. The smoke had finally cleared the street. The men lay at the ranger's feet. Legend tells to this very day. Legend tells to this very day. Shots were coming from an alleyway. No one knows who held the gun. There ain't no doubt if you ask someone. Lonesome dove, back to back with the Rio Grande, a Christian woman in the devil's land. She learned the language and she learned the fight, but she never learned how to beat the lonely night. Lonesome dove, lonesome dove.
I had to get my tissues because I do know that song. Like,
I love it.
Well, and I love the movie in general. Like all the Lonesome Dove movies, I could just watch forever. And I think the first time I ever heard that song, Lonesome Dove, it took me. That's what the characters looked like for me. You know, really? Gus and
I was opposite. I have heard that song since I was a kid. Heard it, listened to it, made up all these people in my head, right? And then I was going through like my mom's cabinet, looking through like movies that we had when I was in high school, and I found like the disc set of Lonesome Dove, and I literally was like, "This is the song I've listened to my whole life. I'm gonna watch it. Let's go." And then 8.5 hours later, I realized there's no correlation at all between like the Western and the song. You know what I mean? Like none at all. They were literally like, one of the writers, Miss Cindy, is a writer on a couple of my songs, and she was like, yeah, no, we just loved like the town name. Like, how cool is Lonesome Dove? You know,
Right?
So we wrote a song about it, and I was like, okay.
So it's like reading the book and then watching the movie.
Yeah. It's like reading a book and watching a movie with the same title that are not the same book and movie.
Right. My daughter had an issue with Harry Potter like that.
Really?
Yeah, she didn't.
I get that. You really get. I was kind of that way with a couple books like that. You know, you get them in your head. You know exactly what they look like. I remember.
Yeah.
I know everyone hates on Twilight, but I remember in Twilight, like Renesmee or one of the characters never looked like what anybody imagined, and like fans were mad about it. They're like, "This isn't even how the book describes her." Like, what is
people take that stuff very seriously.
Yeah, I don't think so. Personally, I just watch movies and enjoy them, but whatever.
Well, I don't want to. I've taken up so much of your time, but I don't want to let you go without.
Do you have a time limit?
Huh?
Do you have one like for like your stream and everything? Like, do you have a time limit?
No,
because I don't have a time limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever you want to get in. I'm not worried about it. I got myself all day.
We talked about Close Enough.
Yes.
And you've released you haven't really released that as a single though. You just put it out there, and then you opened it up for everybody to send in photos for a lyric video.
Right. So during quarantine, a lot of artists were like nominating each other on social media. It's never plural, on social media to share like an uncut like song, like a work tape or whatever it is, like just share it. And I was thinking about it, and my husband was really encouraging me to share Close Enough, because I wrote that song probably 4 or 5 years ago by myself. And it was just one of those songs, and this doesn't happen often, but it was just kind of a gift. You know, it took as long to write it as it did to sing it. And it was just simple, and it was honest. And it was in a time that I needed that song desperately. And so it just came out, and it was just one of those songs that I got so attached to, and I didn't want to let anybody else have it. I didn't want to let anybody write a bad comment on it. You know, I didn't want anything like that to happen, because this song saved my life, and it means the world to me. And Jonathan was like, well, I love you, but like, it's a little selfish to like keep a song that saves your life. Like, what if it can save other people's lives? And I was like, you're right.
Good point.
And so I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't want to like put it out as a single, because we're just now getting established as an artist. I didn't want to throw out a worship song and confuse everybody. To me, it's just a love song. You know, it's not any different than country music to me.
Right.
But we were worried about that, and so I had the idea to just allow other people to write in, because this is a song that we've ended our set with for years, and a lot of people that come to my shows know this song and love this song. And so we were like, well, we need about 50 people. Let's see what we can find. And then I'll just send it out to my friends, and they can be the lyric. Like, cool. We had 580 people respond within 2 hours that wanted to be on it. So that was so special. And so on the video, which I think you mentioned about sharing, you'll see like the lyric, but then you'll also see on the bottom of their lyric, like where they're from. And that was super special for me, because there's one from Denmark and there's one from Sweden. And I just want to hug them so bad. And, it was just really cool for people to reach out and to be a part of Close Enough and everything.
I do want to share it. And if you're sure you're good on time, then I'll share it. I just noticed before Martina commented for us there. We were just talking about you and Joe and how much you are our favorite people. So, okay, well, let's share this, and that way we'll give you a break for a second while we share the video. And we'll be back in a few minutes. Here is the Close Enough lyric video. Let me get it playing there.
Strong, I can be strong, but God, if God never let me go. And God, oh God, I just can't get close enough, oh God, oh God, I just can't get close enough, Rain, wrap me in rain, wash my sins into the ground, and I'll dance on my shame. What love is this I found in God? Oh God, I just can't get close enough, oh God, oh God, I just can't get close enough, And God, oh God, I just can't get close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough to you. Close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough to you. And God, oh God, I just can't get close enough, close enough.
Oh my gosh. I just, again, but you know what I think it is that hits a part for everybody.
Thank you.
That song, whether it's meant to be there, I got us back up there. And everybody has something they're going through at any time.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. At any time, you never know. So I think your husband was right. I'm going to side with him on this.
A good one. I usually side with him, honestly. Usually But I one thing that I always like to mention with Close Enough is I've had a couple of people, that have reached out, and we've had really cool conversations in the sense of they ask me, like, how do you get a faith that strong, right? And like that to where you have that cool of a relationship with God. And I always want people to understand that is not where this song came from. Close Enough is literally begging God to show himself. And it's like, how can you be so close to somebody and somebody live in you? And sometimes it just be like I used to sleep with my Bible on my chest because it was the only way that I felt like I could even get close to him. I just felt like he was so far away and it was so hard. And so it's like, we're just always so encouraging. Like, don't let the prettiness of Close Enough and how simple and sweet it is. Don't let that belittle whatever you're going through with God, That's why my favorite line in that is, and I'll dance on my shame, because like he's given us that ability. And a little tidbit, I wish I would have said it before so you guys could look for it, but my nieces are in this video. And I gave them one of my favorite lines, which is when nightmares leave me scared. And when you give that to a 6 and a 3-year-old, they decide that they want to dress up scary. So in the photograph, the scariest thing in the photograph is the white picket fence that has been green for 12 years. But aside from that, my 2 nieces, little Gwendolyn looks like she smoked cigarettes for 60 years. And Carolyn just looks like she's out of it. Like, it's so funny. So go back and watch it, everybody. Go give me some streams on YouTube. And look for my nieces looking like little old ladies holding up the sign.
That is funny. I mean, I remember now that you're saying that, I remember them because that's so cute.
They look
Hi, Melissa. Melissa Lemon from Center
Hi,
Stage is
Melissa.
saying hello.
Hi,
Um,
Emily. I love her.
okay. I know it. I know it. I love Melissa too. She's Lucy. I'm Ethel. So, and if you know Melissa, then you know why she is Lucy. I mean, and I love her, so I can say that with love. So, there's nothing wrong with being Lucy.
I love
We,
it. We all know Lucy.
we all have a little Lucy there. So, then tell us real quick about Rona, because I love Rona, the Brooklyn mom.
Brooklyn. Okay, so her name is Brooklyn. But
Oh,
she's
Brooklyn.
Not,
Sorry.
but
Oh my gosh.
she's not from Brooklyn, and she doesn't want to talk about it. But to be
Okay.
honest, I was the sickest I've ever been during that time, and I had this really awesome like raspy voice. Like I can't do Brooklyn anymore. That's why she went away, because like when I was so sick, and I had like just between like bronchitis and pneumonia, and I just kept doing these little videos around my house, and my husband hated them. He hates Brooklyn. He can't stand her. I literally yelled at him for like a week in that accent. He was so over it. But I literally can't do it. I wish I could, but I have like a highlight thing on my Instagram. If you guys want to go look, it's called Brooklyn, and I'm screaming about my dog eating my protein powder. But
Which is hilariously funny. And you do have one of Brooklyn on TikTok about if the door's just open. Yeah. So
I do. I walk in my kitchen every morning, and my door to my garage is wide open. It's one of those ones that like doesn't feel right when you shut it. So if you open any other door, it's wide open. And Jonathan leaves much earlier than I even get up. So like I wake up every morning, it's open. And that morning, the refrigerator door was also open, and like it was just crazy. Go look at Brooklyn. She's amazing. I wish I could do it, but it sounds stupid.
well, and Kelly Lang has the alter ego as well. So I think that's just a thing. I mean, as women, we all have alter egos.
Yeah, there's like 12 of us in here. So
Like, yeah. I mean, an estrogen patch helps a little bit, but not that much. Let's talk about real quick, and then I am going to let you go, only because I love your publicist and I want to continue to work with her. So I'm just kidding, Bev. I love you. I just don't want to get you kept her too long. No, I'm totally kidding. But As Good as It Gets. This was one that you wrote. We talked about this in February too. You were on a writer's retreat and you shared it. You shared it online, I guess shortly after you wrote it. But then
that day kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you did it by yourself later. But this song, one, I want to know when it's coming out as a single. But there is tell us about the song. I know we've talked about it before, but it is something everybody can relate to or should be able to.
We wrote it at the retreat in January, and Carly Rogers and I had started it about 3 months before that. And we started it, and we were writing it with a guy. We were writing it with our friend John, and John couldn't get it. Like he couldn't figure it out because the hook of the song is Good as It Gets. And I'll play this for you guys, correct?
Yes.
So it all makes sense. So the hook, it's called Good as It Gets. And he couldn't get that out of his mind being positive. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what the whole song means is like whatever's happening right now in your life, like it's good. But that's as good as it gets. You know, like it was very negative. And so Carly and I were having such a hard time with Sweet John doing it. And John's an amazing writer. It just wasn't the song for him, you know, kind of thing. And he was so sweet to at the end of the day, he goes, "Hey, I really think you guys have something here. Like, please go with it. Like, please leave me out of it. And please go with it." So we kind of held on to it for a while because Carly and I hang out a lot, but we don't write a lot. And so it worked out perfectly. I think it was an estrogen thing because once Kelly got in there, it all came together. But Good as It Gets is just, I played it last night at a writer's round, and we always like to say this. If you are in a relationship that is bad for you, you know that. Get out of it. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Do your thing. That is not what this song is about. This song is about marriage and love and trying to beat the test of time and being honest that doesn't look awesome all the time. You know, I mean, there's so many things that happen in life. Anyone who's married or been with somebody for a while, or I'm sure there's a lot of instances in life where you understand this song, you know, kind of thing. And it's just, even just probably being a new mom, you know, I would imagine like this is supposed to be such a magical time. And I feel like stressed out all the time. So I'll play it for you and it all makes sense. But I love this song. And I love the honesty in it. And I think a lot of us have been waiting for marriage to be talked about like this, because I feel like a lot of us, me included, were like, man, do you guys feel this way or like not?
Well, yeah, because a lot of guilt or shame, or is it just me?
Yeah, there's a lot of guilt with it. And I think too, to admit that you feel this way is really hard for your partner to hear as well. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think that's where communication and understanding comes from. And this song created a really special moment for my husband and I. I came home from the retreat and I said, hey, I want to play you a song. And he's so funny because he's like, is this one about me? And I'm like, I don't know yet. And so I came home and I played it for him and I go, how does this song make you feel? And he goes, it makes me feel like I've been a bad husband. And I go, well, do you want to ask me about that? And he goes, have I been a bad husband? And I said, no. And like, that's how these conversations are supposed to go. And I asked him the same thing. I said, have I failed you? Like as a wife, have I been a bad wife? And he said, no. And then we just got to talk about like what was going on in our lives and what could be better. And it was special and we grew from it. And I'm sure that we will have this conversation 600 more times, you know, in this year alone. And then next year also. You know, it's how it goes. And I'll tell you right now, I am the biggest fan of my husband, right? I think he's the greatest thing on the planet. So with all that said, here's a really honest song about being married. I love this song. And it's so cool because like Carly's not married. And she added in like such a special element to the song, you know, too. So it fits everybody, all that kind of stuff. But it's as good as it gets.
Two plates in the kitchen sink, same old family recipe, and it's his turn to do the dishes. Side by side they go to bed alone, say goodnight behind their phones. Bad habits become tradition. Oh, but nothing's going wrong. This is what they wanted all along. Time stops living in the moment. She's scared. This ain't what she wanted. She never thought she'd have to work so hard to fan the fire. He sees nothing but forever. She prays, hoping it gets better. Ain't nobody trying to say goodbye. She just wants how it was once in a while. They're good, and that's as good as it gets. One and one plus two makes four. It's not just him and her anymore. Funny what God will do with your plans. It seemed so easy not long ago. He grabbed her hand and held her close. She'd do anything to feel that way again. Oh, but nothing's going wrong. This is what they wanted all along. Time stops living in the moment. She's scared. She's not what he wanted. She never thought she'd have to work so hard to fan the fire. And he sees nothing but forever. She prays, God, just make it better. Ain't nobody trying to say goodbye. She just wants how it was once in a while. We're good, but that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets.
Look, I can't even with you today.
Bad
I think
songs, they make the world go round.
and look, I guess it's just an emotional season for me because literally songs have touched me the past couple of months. Yes, they should. They should. And I love that they're not the same all major label artists that have songs that I'm going back listening to going, wait a minute. I heard something different in that this time, or I felt something different in that this time. I love that because for whatever season you're going through, there's something for everybody on it. I cannot wait for an Allie Colleen album. And I can't.
It Gets should be on, and this is all in my head because we haven't started anything.
Okay.
But if I can get Joe and Martina, I'm hoping they're still listening, back here, we can start working on an EP for the fall.
Oh, okay. So
how good as it gets on
now it's been passed on to Joe and Martina, so y'all need to hurry up and get this done. Let's get this thing going. Allie, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I've enjoyed every single second of it, and we have some plans coming up. We've got a sloth to go pet, which we're gonna have to film because that'll be so much fun. And
was it a two-toed or a three-toed?
Three-toed.
The good ones.
Look, Melissa said yes. You want to go with us, Missy?
Let's do it.
We just need to make a whole day of grabbing a whole bunch of people and going to hold a sloth. But I love everything you're doing. I love it because it's so genuine and authentic, if I could get the word out, and it comes from your heart and your soul. And thank you for sharing that with us. I think you are creating a new soundtrack for our lives. We've had one for our past. And now this is a nice one for our present and our future. I love that some of these songs definitely are included in that soundtrack. So, and I adore you and love you. And I cannot wait to see a show and come back to Nashville. I know we need to get down there and do that. So, everybody make sure you check her out. It's Allie Colleen and it's COLLEEN music.com. Make sure you go check out all her socials. She's even on TikTok, even though she hates it. She's still there.
Well, but I posted so many singing videos on TikTok. They get a couple hundred views, I won't lie. But right now, I have an egg sandwich on TikTok that is at about 700,000 views.
Well, yeah, it's the Justin Bieber Yummy.
It is the Yummy song.
It's the Yummy song. And I was like,
I can't figure out TikTok. Hey. We'll work on it. I'll work on it for you.
Okay. All right. And then, maybe I'll just duet with you or react to them or something.
Please.
There, we could do that. I'm not singing. Let's not do that because something I can lip sync to. Thank you so much.
I had a blast. Thank you so much.
We have too. And thank Jonathan for getting you there on time.
I will.
You all make sure you check her out on all social media channels, her website. Stay tuned because she's always doing something on Instagram or her website and things like that. So, and I unplugged my camera apparently. So that's always a good sign when that happens. I guess that means it's time to quit. So you all make sure you check her out. I keep saying it, but we'll make sure all the links are up. Allie, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Bye, guys.